I'm just going to say the one that came to mind right now because I'm fond of it. I forget about it, and then every now and then I remember it because I was young when it ended because my parents got wise and stopped it. Welcome to the Couch Time Podcast, where we give you tools to connect with your kids and point them to Jesus. I'm Aaron, and I'm here with
Ryan
Conlon, the man from Florence campus.
Yes.
And it is December.
It is December. It is December. It's crazy.
December.
Time's flying by.
Time is flying by. It's very weird, especially in the podcast world. Time flies by. It's kind of a funny thing. But Today, we want to talk about Christmas. It's coming up, December, the holiday season, if you will. We want to talk about Advent. We want to talk about Christ's birth, Christmas, the meaning of Christmas, and we want to talk about traditions. And we want to give you guys some tools and some reminders just as far as how you can use your time with your family, hopefully with your kids, as far as being intentional, having conversation around Christmas and the why behind it. So, starting off, Ryan, favorite family tradition revolving around Christmas?
Oh no! Oh man, you did ask favorite.
I'll tell you mine.
Yeah, can you lead?
I'll tell you mine. No, you're fine. I'm just gonna say the one that came to mind right now because I'm fond of it. I forget about it, and then every now and then I remember it because I was young when it ended because my parents got wise and stopped it. But we had a barn behind our house, and it was probably, I don't know how many yards. I'll exaggerate just for the sake of this narrative. It was probably 75 yards.
Yeah, 100 yards.
Yeah, 150 or so. Yeah, you need a 3-iron.
That's an 8-iron.
Sorry. Yeah, I was gonna say
Doesn't matter.
I'm not good at golfing, but either way, what we would do is if it ever snowed, and I think that my oldest brother started this tradition, which is why my parents ended up shutting it down, I believe. But I was young, not even middle school at the time, but the tradition was if it snowed, we would put on shorts and a T-shirt, and we would crawl in the snow to the barn and back. And it was like Christmas season, holiday. We didn't get snow all the time. Sometimes it's rainy and wet. Sometimes it's warm. Sometimes we get snow. But if it snowed, we were crawling to the barn and back. And we would bleed our knees, our hands. And it was like this. I don't know why I liked it, but it was something stupid we did.
I love that.
Yes.
So, just a bunch of...
I would not recommend. I didn't plan on saying that on the podcast. I would not tell parents to encourage that. But what's something that you did?
I think probably in the moment, I always enjoyed, I'll share my favorite Christmas memories. My family, we were in Columbus, Ohio. We would, it felt like every year, drive down to Atlanta, Georgia, to my mom's side of the family for Christmas. And so actually my favorite part was the road trip down.
Oh, nice.
With my family. And actually, as I reflect on it, we make that trek every year. We would drive from Columbus down 71 and pass Florence and drive through Knoxville.
Oh, that's so
down
funny.
to Atlanta. Florence, obviously, where we live now. Knoxville, where my wife and I met and got married, down to the family.
Very interesting.
That's an interesting thing.
It is.
I don't know. Just cool. So I think now I'm just nostalgic of those road trips. And then I loved my dad is like a professional chef, and he would make Christmas morning just a killer breakfast.
Legitimately professional chef?
No, he was in college. No, not a professional. In college, he made money paying off for his architecture degree as a cook. And so he's a very good cook.
Nice.
Loves to cook. And so eating breakfast Christmas morning in Atlanta with my family. My dad had some fancy, he didn't cook this, he bought it, Christmas Kringle. Oh, from like this Amish place in Columbus. We would transport it down.
Man.
So a little different than army crawling through the barn.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
I love that. That's just like the most classic, like, boys.
Yeah,
like,
there were 7 kids, and my oldest brother's like, hey, little siblings, you guys want to do something fun? Let's crawl through the icy snow, because the snow here in the Midwest, too, is like, there's like fluffy snow and then an ice layer. Yeah. Road trip. That reminds me of another one. We would go to Gatlinburg every year, and we've been going for over 20 years with all my family. Christmas is a ton of fun.
Yeah.
I love the holidays, everything revolving around the smells, the lights.
Yes.
I would love for it to be a white Christmas, not to army crawl, but just because of the beauty and the season that it is. I love it being snowy.
This is not on the topic, but
Shoot.
how many snowy white Christmases do we get in Kentucky?
I have no idea about the history, but it
What's
seems...
your feel?
I would say probably...
Once every 4 years?
Yeah, I would say 25, 33% of the time.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
like it.
Oftentimes I feel like it's wet and rainy. We'll get a good snow, but it's usually not on Christmas. So last year we had a great couple snows. It was real deep last year. It was fun. So no really way to know.
Colorado always frustrated me. There would never be snow in December, like maybe an inch. You get feet,
Just dumped on, yeah.
feet in April and May.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we talking about? The snow, the skiers
I'm a
love
snow
it.
skier, so to me it's like
Exactly.
yes, please.
Yeah.
That's great.
Not me. This guy, no.
Well, you should be good here. It might be 70 degrees or it might be negative 15. It's a pretty narrow
geez.
window.
I'm going, Aaron, you're getting squirrely, Ryan. I love to golf Christmas Eve. And in Colorado, again, it could be 70 degrees.
That's a thing that you do?
Yes. I've done it.
I believe it.
So fun. No one's out there.
Yeah.
Whole
I
course to
play
myself.
frisbee golf in the wintertime with a hand warmer I'll go and take, you know.
Because here's the deal.
Golf
Emily,
though, that's
Yeah, Emily, like when we lived in Colorado.
how would you find well, if it's white, it's not white, you don't have
It's
to worry
not.
about finding the ball.
It would be beautiful out. Emily's working like Christmas Eve shift.
So you get to go golfing.
I'm like, I've got hours.
Well, Christmas Eve, man, we're going. All right.
I can't wait.
I'm down. This will be awesome. New tradition.
Yeah.
Love it. So it's fun. Even right now, we're reminiscing. Like this is just, and we're
Yes.
dreaming, but it's reminiscent. And I think the power of reminiscence and remembering back is repetition, and a lot of, especially during the holidays, traditions.
Yes.
And families, people tend to do the same things that they grew up doing. And, you know, what you parents, you know, listening, what you're doing with your kids during the holidays this December, whether you decorate before Thanksgiving or after Thanksgiving or Halloween or whenever you end up decorating for Christmas and start playing the Christmas music, it's your kids are probably going to end up doing a lot of those same things when they get older. And it's fun to reminisce.
Yes.
It's very important, though, that we remember why we do the things that we do. So on this podcast, I want to talk about Advent, but I want to talk about encouraging you and some tools to try to talk about the why. So let's talk Advent real quick.
Okay.
What is Advent?
Boy. So
We
Aaron
just
and
talked about this.
Aaron and I just had this conversation. I confess, if there was an Advent class in seminary, your boy skipped it. Advent, if you were to tell me, Ryan, Advent, what is it? I think Catholic-y.
Yep.
Pretty like liturgical. I have memories of like lighting candles. Not really sure why we lit candles as a kid, but man, I was pumped to light
Yep.
the purple
Yep.
one or whatever. Very exciting.
Yeah, there's different colored candles. Like, what do they mean?
I have a very embarrassing story
You did not tell me this.
of how. Well, I did tell you. Of how I learned what the word Advent means.
Oh, yes.
Like I thought
pretty
Advent.
normal.
I just associated Advent with like a roughly 4-week calendar schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And a few years ago, a buddy of mine was preaching a sermon on the second Advent, and I thought, what is that? Is this like in February or March, the 4-week period before Easter, where we celebrate that holiday? Come to find out, it means what? Coming?
It's coming.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like Jesus comes into the world, that's the Advent. His first
Yep.
Advent as a baby, second Advent
Yep.
when he returns.
So I think
Boom.
I don't think that should be embarrassing to you because I didn't grow up. The only thing I remember from Advent are the calendars that when you opened, you either got a new Lego piece or you got a piece of chocolate or something cool from like the calendars. Every day you would open
Yeah, I do
something
remember
new.
those. Yeah.
There's all kinds of traditions with Advent, and I think a lot of parents practice some, but some people do the wreaths, some people. That doesn't really matter. I think celebrating Advent is wonderful. The last couple years, I've started doing a few things with my family and personally. But the whole point, Advent is the season leading up to Christmas.
Yes.
It is all about preparing for Jesus is coming. And it's traditions, and it's a lot of, like you said, liturgical. So I think it feels old school to do these things every Sunday. You do this, you light a new candle, and then the next Sunday is this candle, and it's a different color, and then the final candle culminates with it's symbolic.
Mm-hmm.
But back to the point, parents, we want to encourage you. Why do we do any of it?
Mm-hmm.
Why do we put up Christmas lights?
Yep.
Why do we celebrate Advent? Why do we do nativity scenes? Why do we do anything that you do, whether it's silly like crawling to a barn in the snow that has nothing to do with Jesus coming, or it does? We forget the meaning of things over time,
Yep.
and we need to remind ourselves. So here is the thing that we want to tell you, and then we can just wrap it up to be short and frank. The generation right now, well, our generation, my generation, the millennials, but as well as Gen Z, they love to understand, to discuss, to contemplate. And so I think this year, I want to encourage parents, our parents at all the campuses, to talk about the why behind what you do in your house with Christmas.
Yep.
Ryan, question.
Yes.
Why do you think it is important to discuss the why behind things?
Well, I think kind of like me, I think like the routine, the liturgical element of Advent serves as a reminder to like, this is a structure by which we can have the conversations of the why.
Yeah, exactly.
But that was not your question. Your question is why do we talk about the why? It's because so you don't end up like me, not understanding, like going through the routines of the structure, but missing out on the whole point. Like, well, okay, the structure and lighting the candles and getting the chocolate's great, but I don't really understand like the point of Jesus and why he came into the world. And so I kind of like, we got halfway there doing the liturgy, but not the why behind it. And so I think we suffer from spiritual amnesia. We forget what God has done for us. We need constant reminder.
Yeah.
We need to plow up fallow ground, as it says somewhere in the Old Testament, Isaiah, of like a hardening heart. To plow up the fallow ground is like to if we have a hardened heart,
soften what is hard,
soften what has become like crusty, which is like, okay, Jesus died for my sins and he came into the world, nativity, whatever. But really to pause and to reflect and get to the why, I think helps to do that.
Do you think teenagers, so your students, do you think they understand the reason for the season?
I think I've been thinking about this a lot. Well, I think a lot of my students know they could articulate what Jesus has done, but I'm not sure that it is real to them. Does that make sense?
Yep.
There is a head knowledge there.
Yep.
They know who. I heard a report of a 6th grade boy talking about Jonathan Edwards. Okay, that's ridiculous. Okay. He has a lot of head. This kid might not be it, but like I think there are kids to that point of like they have a good head knowledge, they have solid theology. It's not real to them.
Do you think if parents talk about the why, it will become real to the students? It's kind of a trick question, because I think not necessarily.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a mystery.
So, and the reason why I asked that question is because I didn't understand it. It didn't become real to me till I was a freshman in college. But I know for a fact that my parents tried to explain to me why.
Yep.
But it was an act of God's mercy that softened my heart, and he used them, and it took years.
Yeah. Seeds were planted.
That's exactly right. And I want to encourage parents, it's like use this Christmas season, this Advent, this leading to the coming of Christ as an opportunity to try to plant seeds.
Yep.
To soften your kids' hearts. Whether they know the right answers or not, it's always good to come back. Asking questions like, what a holiday season means to you. What about Christmas? What's it mean to you? Like, just ask them that, and it's like they're going to probably shoot you this right answer. It's important because Jesus.
Right.
It's like, well, yeah, but what does it mean to you? Why is it, do you enjoy Christmas? Ask questions. What are your favorite traditions? What is Christmas all about? And then listen. You'll hear a lot and hopefully have an opportunity to talk to them about maybe what it means to you. And I think it's even good for us to practice. What does it mean to us? It sneaks up on me all the time. It's like, oh, yeah, it's Christmas. This is a really meaningful time. I think I should have different emotions than I do right now because I'm excited about presents.
Yep.
It's like I need to remember, and having conversations is helpful in doing that, especially for your kids, though, they are in a world where teens are dissecting everything. And it's especially important right now, Christmas, that you help them know how to dissect that.
Yep.
What's the purpose? What's the meaning? So really, that is it. We love the holidays. There's a lot of time off. There's a lot more time with family. You had said in a previous episode, Christmas time, it's like there's all this extra time. I want to read books. I want to I don't remember exactly what you said, but it's
find
like
Christmas,
a surprising amount of...
It's a paradox.
Yeah.
I find like my calendar gets full, relatives are in town, and yet I have more time?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a bizarre thing because it's out of the routine, and there's no new routine, but there's a lot of busyness, but I find myself bored often.
Yep.
Watching more movies than I normally do, hanging out playing board games more than I do, reading books. I want to encourage parents, like, use the holiday season with your kids being off school or family or travel. It's like, talk about the why. Ask good questions. There's some resources that we'll put in the show notes as far as, just going further if you want to know how to use this time. Maybe to institute some new traditions in your family just to kind of liven things up or plow the fallow ground.
I found the verse. I don't think it's particularly helpful to throw out a verse and have no idea. So, but actually, I don't know. It was like the Spirit working. I was like, that actually is a good verse.
What is it?
It's Jeremiah 4:3, and so that the prophet Jeremiah is speaking to a rebellious Judah, southern kingdom. He says, "For thus says the Lord to the men of Judah and Israel: break up your fallow ground and sow not among thorns." So obviously, there's parallels to agriculture, etc. But I think I heard that verse in context of like marriage, of like you need to like not harden your heart towards your spouse, but I mean it applies to many things, anything like things that we are become desensitized to, like Christmas. Like, what would it look like for your family to plow up the fallow ground of like what Christmas is for your family? And get to the why behind.
And that could be little things like, hey, we put Christmas lights on the Christmas tree. Why are we doing that? That's a symbol of light shining in the darkness. It's like, why is there a star on the top? It's like a star. Like, there's symbols everywhere. Maybe you've never talked about them before. Look them up online. See. Yep. Talk about it. That's great. Yep. Jeremiah 4:3. It's convicting to think about when you read it in the context of Jeremiah 2. I'm just thinking about all of the sin and their faith. I think that it's got a lot of implications, so it's good.
And actually, the fancy Bible software. I know it from Jeremiah 4:3. It's also in Hosea 10:12, Proverbs 13:23, Exodus 23:11. That phrase of like fallow ground and breaking it up. So
and even the parable of sowing the seeds that Jesus talks about, and it's like the soil of our heart and the truth falling on it. So parents, be diligent, be intentional. Be vigilant. Your kids, they need you to help show them and teach them and model for them. So any closing thoughts, Ryan?
I think that's it.
Yeah. Merry Christmas. Happy Advent season, whether you're celebrating it or not. We are excited because Jesus did come. He sent his Holy Spirit, and one day he will come again. We're excited and we're grateful. So we love you guys. Happy December.
Hey, thanks for watching.
You can follow us on Instagram at The Couch Time Podcast.
Let us know what you thought about the podcast. Also, let us know if there's any topics or things you'd like us to cover. You can comment and email us at podcast@graceky.org.
Please like, subscribe, and share the video with other parents.